Breaking. Democrat who called for civil war against Trump caught in sick act behind president's back. This is beyond sick. During the 2016 presidential elections, Donald Trump made numerous campaign promises that electrified his base. He promised that if elected, he would make America safe for everyone. When he was elected, he began to fulfill his promises and began rounding up and deporting illegal immigrants left and right. He did away with the Obama-era DACA program that protected 800,000 people who were in our country illegally from deportation. Liberals have been in panic mode ever since Trump was elected and have made it their mission to undermine the president at every turn. Democrats are spreading lies and calling the president a bigoted Mexican-hating racist, all because he is putting the American people's interests above illegal immigrants like any good leader should. One of the most vocal enemies of President Trump's immigration crackdown is Democratic Rep. Luis Gutierrez. He made headlines several months ago for inciting acts of terrorism against President Trump, where he made a YouTube video encouraging illegals to take to the streets and fight and start an all-out civil war against the president. According to Prissy Holly via Freedom Daily, calling for blood and violence in the streets wasn't quite enough for Gutierrez, who was caught in a career-ending scandal after it was discovered what he was secretly doing with taxpayer dollars for many years. The D.C. Clothesline reports that this illegal supporting Democrat has just been caught red-handed with his grubby hands in the cookie jar and has been secretly funneling taxpayer money to both his camp, AIGN, and his family, making them rich. Via D.C. Clothesline. According to a new report from the Washington Free Beacon Rep, Gutierrez has paid his wife and daughters hundreds of thousands of dollars from campaign funds over the last 5 or 6 years. Gutierrez's wife has personally profited the most, pocketing more than $300,000 over the last 4 election cycles. The first time Sarida acted in an official capacity for the campaign in 2010, she pulled in over $44,000 and was the top recipient of cash from the Gutierrez campaign that year. Sarida then pocketed over $93,000 in 2012, making her the biggest beneficiary of campaign funds for the second election cycle in a row. The committee disbursed $383,848 in 2012, so Sarida's payments constituted roughly 25% of all campaign expenditures. Sarida was yet again the top beneficiary of cash from Gutierrez for Congress during the 2014 election cycle, receiving $110,000. Herman Andrew Avenda was the second highest paid individual at $24,000. Sarida has pocketed $65,000 during the 2016 election cycle to date. She has been paid a total of $312,000 from the Gutierrez for Congress campaign committee since 2010. However, it doesn't stop with the $300,000 to Gutierrez's wife. Gutierrez's daughters have also benefited from the father's campaign coffers, though nowhere near as extravagantly as the candidate and his wife. Of course, he has nothing to worry about. The media won't report this because he's a Democrat. It's truly a wonder how these Democratic criminals are still allowed to roam the streets free. Inciting acts of terrorism is now becoming just a common occurrence as these liberals actively encourage blood and violence in the streets in order to resist President Trump. Being that there are currently over 11 million illegals in America, Gutierrez's calls for them to rise up is a serious threat towards our country. Liberals love to say that America is a land for immigrants, and in many ways they are right. Unfortunately, in order to be a citizen, you need to do it the right way and go through the necessary steps to become a legal citizen. Liberals think that America should have open borders and welcome everyone with welcome arms. But unfortunately, many people who come in illegally have something to hide and are up to no good when they enter our country. We have all seen what happens when these people come in under unconstitutional programs. Take For example, the New York attacks several months ago where an ISIS-backed Muslim psychopath mowed down innocent bicyclists and pedestrians in a fatal attack that killed 8 people. Democrats like Gutierrez are the problem, and they should not be allowed to hold office when they put their own interests above the good of the American people. Hopefully. This latest scandal of him stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the American taxpayers in order to pad the pockets for his campaign and family members will finally end his career and put him in jail where he belongs.